I'm not perfect.
No one was there to talk to me, and I felt like, what if I decided to end it here? No one would know because no one listens.
I was planning on killing myself.
I hear every day people go, oh my God, that sucks. I'm so gonna kill myself. Like, it's not a joke. It actually happens. And that's so, it offends me when people say that.
I have people who feel so alone, and I felt alone. And it's hard to assure somebody that it's going to be okay, because if you believe it, it doesn't matter. They have to believe it.
I finally got up the courage to be like, I'm kind of, I don't feel that great right now. Like I need help, and I was denied it completely.
He didn't really help though. He kind of just told me that if somebody's coming to you and tell him, because he's had a lot of problems, if his problems get too much on me, I should just tell him to just go away. I mean, that wasn't really what I needed.
Like with words, you can't see the bruises, but they hurt us just as much as like punches, and stuff like that. It's just so like, it's so sad that you can't like always see it, and that it can just be hidden so easily.
I didn't like a lot of stuff about myself. I don't know why, but I guess it's just like what you see. You see in like the magazines, like people with perfect bodies and perfect everything. And you just want to look like them.
Adolescence is a time of identity formation. Eric Erikson is a developmental psychologist who saw development as passing through a series of kind of crises that need to be resolved by the individual. From infancy, there are issues of trust versus mistrust. Early elementary school years, industry versus inferiority, where kids are figuring out, am I effective in the world, or am I lagging behind? Am I competent? And then you move into adolescence, where the crisis that needs to be resolved is identity formation versus role confusion. Essentially, who am I? And am I good at being this person? Or are there aspects of myself that I am comfortable with, or aspects of myself that I feel conflicted about?
Like, I have a lot of friends who are going through very rough times right now, and all I want to do is be there for them, but they're so surrounded by so many negative influences that it's just like, I can't always be there for them because a lot of them go to different schools, and I can't constantly be texting them and calling them, and it scares me because I don't want to wake up one morning and have a friend be gone. Like,
And it's sad because not only do a lot of people, they're oblivious to it, but even the people that are going through it don't understand it themselves. And I think that's why a lot of people kill themselves. It's because they just don't understand why they hate themselves.
I think for a long time I thought it was part of my identity, part of who I was, that I was just going to be upset and miserable my entire life, and with anxiety attacks all the time, even though I didn't know what they were. Just that they would drive me to tears, and I didn't know. And now I know that that's not how it's going to be.
If the identity that seems like it's a good fit is one that is associated with status among your peers, there's not going to be a lot of conflict. And if what's inside of you feels consistent with what you're able to display to the world, that's a good place to be, but that's not the way it is for everyone. And so when you have that mismatch between what you understand to be what's acceptable to show the rest of the world and what you really feel like is who you are, then you're going to have that conflict. And forming an identity can be, forming an identity that you feel is acceptable to show the world and feels good about and feels consistent with who you are inside, it's going to be difficult. The most clear examples come up with issues of sexuality. For most adolescents, the idea that they're gay is something that is likely to lead to a lot of shame. There are exceptions, and there are environments in which this is accepted and they get support, but frequently if the either spoken or unspoken messages, that's not an okay way to be.
High school is a very difficult time for adolescents. It's the transition period between childhood and adulthood, where they are becoming young adults and finding themselves, and they are trying to fit in, not only with their peers, with their family, with society. They're trying to get involved in new clubs. Generally, with adolescents, it's tough enough growing up with somewhat of a very functional family system, but when there's dysfunction in the family or dysfunction in the community or around the kids, as well as peer pressure and social acceptance, the steps to getting help for whatever you're suffering with generally happens in 3 phases. First, there has to be an awareness to what you feel like you are experiencing, whether it's substance abuse, sexual trauma, mental health issues like anxiety, depression, suicidal ideations, bullying, promiscuity. Then you have to accept that that is what you're feeling, and then you're at the stage where you're willing to change. So at that point, when you seek help from that one person or several individuals that you know can help you, you do that.
Hi, I'm Mary, and I am a junior in high school.
I'm Kendra, and I am a sophomore in high school.
I'm Sasha, and I am a junior.
Hi guys, I'm Jake, and I'm a senior in high school.
I'm Ashley, and I'm a sophomore in high school. I've had many friends, including the one that I was just talking about. He always used to, this one girl too, both of them, they're both very suicidal, and they have tried many times. And they've told me that before they tried, they think about me, and that's what stops them.
It is a huge responsibility, and I really cannot say how difficult that must be.
I've learned it because sometimes I've thought of that, not as a huge major thing, but I've thought sometimes that if this person decides to do something, is it because of me? But I've learned that it's not because of me.
Good.
And it's
As long as you know that,
Yeah.
yeah. All of these people sitting here right now are some of the strongest people I've ever met. And now I can say that about you. But you need to know, God forbid anything ever happens, it will never be your fault.
Yeah.
For a while, I also didn't know what to do. I'm also a very closed off person. I don't trust many. But then my sister, she would see the school psychologist, and when I entered freshman year and she was a senior, she was like, come with me to just talk to her just once and see how it goes, and if you don't like it, you don't have to see her again. I loved it, and it helped me so much. I need to see someone outside of school. I can't, the times that we're on breaks for holidays, what am I supposed to do when I can't go to school? And I know that's so weird to say for a high school student, but sometimes I depend on going to school because it's it helps healing. See if your school has someone that they can offer.
Right.
And even if they don't have a psychologist, maybe if you trust a teacher that you feel like you can confide in and that you trust and you can open up with, definitely do that. Or friends.
Yeah.
I always tried to be a person that other people would like, and I just realized that was so unhealthy. I just need to be who I want to be and love myself, because that's what counts.
Sometimes I still think about how easy it could be to take my life. But I remember how it would affect the people around me, and I can't bring myself to do it. I want to tell people that even the littlest things hurt, but almost the smallest compliment can make someone's day. Being kind to someone can change their life.
can't stress it enough how great it is that you've realized that you've needed help.
One aspect of identity that emerges during adolescence is sexuality. And if sexuality is in line with, the expected norms of the culture, boys like girls and girls like boys, then that's generally not an issue of any conflict. But when you introduce a gay or lesbian adolescent into that mix, it can create a lot of internal conflict because of fear of judgment, the judgment can come from outside and the judgment can come from inside. Is it okay for me to be this way? I don't want this to be part of my identity. Everyone will look at me, as weird, or, will have negative feelings about me if I reveal this aspect of who I am. In that setting, it's really crucial that there be a sense of acceptance of this aspect of the person, in particular from parents, but also from schools, teachers, and ideally peers. That is one opportunity for there to be either role confusion or a relatively easy integration of that aspect of their identity. The sexual aspect of their identity. Things can get further complicated by transgender issues, where there is, we're talking about three different variables here. We've got your biological sex, male or female, you've got a penis or you have a vagina. We have your gender identity, which is you either identify as a male or a female. And then we've got your sexual orientation, who you're attracted to, males or females. And those three things can operate independently and can create a lot of confusion as they emerge during adolescence. And again, the feedback, the internal conflict can be really significant, but what's going to really be crucial is the feedback you get from your peers, your parents, the school, the community around you. If there's a sense that this is okay, that you're accepted, that we want you to be who you are. We want you to be who you are in whatever form that takes. That's the best message they can get. When there's judgment or this is wrong, or what's wrong with you, those are really damaging messages for adolescents to receive.
My name is Jesse. I'm a female male transgender. I am pansexual. When I first started going to school, I really didn't know what it was or how I identified. But then she told me that I should go to the gay club or GSA in our school. And I was like, oh, okay, that'd be cool. And after learning, getting taught all the labels and stuff, it really helped me because I knew that I wasn't the only one, And I came out as bisexual at first and then pansexual. And then I started identifying as gender fluid, and I kind of forced myself to put on feminine things and act feminine because I didn't want that giant step. And then I was like, I can't do this anymore. This is just me. I'm just a guy. I'm not playing this anymore.
When I had come out with my own transition a few years back, I didn't know anybody in the LGBT community. What I was looking for specifically were other trans people, especially trans women that I could become acquainted with and possibly develop a friendship with to support me in my own transition. I made a phone call and the facilitator at the time told me, come in, it's free, you'll meet other trans people, and you don't have to be nervous or worried because everybody's going through the same situation as you, meaning transition. And it was at that center that I first met Erica. And I remember in the very beginning when the support group was finished, I ran home. I didn't want to socialize anything. I didn't know anybody, wasn't comfortable. And then I remember one night after group, Erica pulled me aside and said, listen, some of the folks here and I are going out to grab a bite to eat. Why don't you come along? And I was going to refuse at first, but then I said, okay, sure, why not? And then we started going every week after group to go out with some friends to eat, just to socialize and whatnot. And we started to grow closer, Erica and I, to the point where we actually started dating on Christmas Eve 2013. And then I met the two kids, Christian and Rose, at the center. Needed a place to stay while they were homeless. They were bouncing from house to house, friend to friend,
Couch
building
to
to
couch.
building, couch to couch. I received a phone call from a mutual friend of ours at the center, Riley, who said, listen, there are these two friends of mine who are homeless. They need a place to stay. They don't have anywhere to stay. I can't have them. Is it okay if they come to your house? And I said, sure. Are they trustworthy? And she said, yeah, they are. And then that moment when they walked into our door, we had that sense of family after a couple of weeks. The two kids, Christian and Rose, didn't have a family. They didn't have that support. They didn't have that love or structure that we all have. So Eric and I were talking and said, you know what, it would be nice to develop a family unit.
When I finally came out, no one in my birth family understood me. The school I attended was extremely transphobic. What I will do is I'll just try to hang around people that understand me. It helps being surrounded by people that understand who I am and know what I'm going through because they're going through the same thing. And not only do I feel like they're not just seeing me as a guy, but they are acknowledging that I've struggled more than a lot of guys because I'm trans. I enjoy being around Sophia and Erica, like whenever I'm feeling really dysphoric and I just need someone to either listen to me or someone to just sit there with me when I'm upset. I can definitely count on them, especially with Rose as well. I feel like even more like I can count on her for that kind of support, being that we've been through so much together.
Find that in the past year and a half, my life has changed in ways I would not have anticipated. I would not have pictured myself being where I am now in such a short period of time. I was homeless, miserable, and dealt with copious amounts of anxiety and dysphoria, along with substance abuse on top of it all. In the past year, I've found a stable living situation with Erica and Sophia and have a real family for the first time in years. I've gotten on hormones and nearly conquered dysphoria, and I've started seeing a psychiatrist, and I'm now on a series of meds that help me to deal with insomnia, depression, and ADHD. Along with that, I've been enrolled back in school, and my academic performance went from failing and cutting most of my classes in the past to actually attending and actually completing schoolwork. I still suffer from occasional momentary lapses and lose myself in a way, but I've found that I now recover from them much quicker and regain the ambition and optimism I've managed to gradually build over the past year. I've also found that though transgenderism and the trans communities surround me in many aspects of my life, I tend to now be much less focused on transitioning and all topics transgender related, likely because of how far I've managed to come in my transition. One of my biggest goals is to get into art and film and spend a good part of my future dedicated to artistic expression, though my current lack of productivity in that field often disencourages me, but sometimes I manage to really push myself to just create something, however small or simple it is. I am now filled with more optimism towards my future than I ever have been before.
In particular, if you are a minority within a majority subculture, there can be questions about whether or not that's okay. You can have questions about whether or not that's okay without even realizing it. Some sense of how come I'm different from everyone else in this way. Certainly, you see that in sexuality, but you can also see it in biracial children who are raised in a predominantly white environment, or black children, or Latino, or any cultural minority that's being raised within the majority white culture, can lead to a lot of questions about, is it okay to be who I am, or how come no one else is like me? And if that majority culture is not accepting of them, or has some sense of judgment, or a wish to try and force them into a role that doesn't feel natural to them, it can exacerbate that sense of it's not okay to be who I am. And then there's also just alienation, and given the fact that I'm different from everyone else. How come I'm different from everyone else?
I'm Rachel Cucina. I am 15 years old. I just moved to Long Beach, New York, and I am a dancer. It's better to be in a diverse or open-minded town or surrounding than a closed, not so diverse setting for me, because I'm biracial and I'm half white and half black. And it's just when you're biracial and the pigment of your skin is different than what people see you as, because I'm normally just labeled as black instead of white and black. So when people see me, they see someone who is just this black girl, and it's just a different type of feeling because I'm biracial. I'm not just one ethnicity. I mean, ever since I was little, I judged myself because I grew up in a white family and I was brown. So when being in a school that's judging you and you're judging you, you feel very that much less perfect, or that much more unloved because you don't love yourself and people are showing you that they don't really care for you. So it's just hard sometimes, but you learn how to push through it and overcome everything, even if it takes time, because obviously you're going to get through it. The thing that is helping me get through it is dance. Sometimes certain people have to be taught or have seen what narrow-mindedness is, and they think that's just the way things are. But you have to learn how to accept everyone and how to push past just certain things that you don't think is right or that you don't think they should do, because you have to learn how to have an open heart to people and to how they are.
His name was Mark. I saw him sitting at the basketball kids' table 7th grade with long, beautiful golden hair. He was the new kid. I thought he was cute, and all my friends and I thought he was cute. I was in the school musical with him, Once Upon a Mattress, and he was the Yellow Knight. Yellow is in all of my memories of him, in all of my dreams of him, in all of my nightmares. I went out of my mind trying to figure out why Mark did what he did, and why he never told anyone. Then I asked myself why I wanted to do the same thing. I couldn't come up with a good enough answer, because no reason is good enough reason to take your life. April 27th, at approximately 10:17 p.m., I wrote my suicide note, planned for April 29th when we got back, my 15th birthday. That same night at 11:35, Mark stood in front of a train, on the train tracks by my high school.
Mark, my son, died April 27th of 2013 of suicide. There was no indication that there was any kind of problem. He was, from the day he was born, he was always smiling and happy and outgoing and boisterous and fun-loving. He did very well in school. It was important to him to do well, but I don't know if he struggled with, we found out after he attempted the first time, April 3rd, that he was afraid of growing up. He was struggling with maybe who he was supposed to be. So we don't realize how many lives we impact on a daily basis. You know, just by smiling at somebody, you know, can make their day. And we don't know that because not enough people take the time to say thank you or hey, that was really cool, but most people point out what you do wrong instead of what you do right. And but even if just one person, you know, that you feel like, if Mark knew that he was loved, but yet, I don't know, I guess it wasn't enough. I love you. I miss you. I wish things were different.
I was in a bad place. I had anxiety about everything, and sometimes why I was having a panic attack just didn't even make sense. And they lasted for a long time. I didn't want to go out. I hated looking at myself. I'm just so far out of that bad place now, it's hard for me to even think that I was that way, and for a long time too. I don't like to think about it because now that I know better, I can think more rationally. And it doesn't take a few months, it takes a few years. I'm still in the middle of getting better, but I've come a long way. I'm able to get myself under control quickly when I'm panicking, I have silly putty to keep me level-headed, which is new, by the way. I also think I subconsciously exaggerated my condition. Maybe to me I was very bad, but when I was at this outpatient facility 2 years ago, I wasn't as bad as the other kids, whose parents didn't really care. I had very loving parents, I still do, in a time when I had no friends and was left to suffer by myself. Honestly, the only way to come out of depression is the will and the patience to put time into it. Of course, I had my family, so it was easier, but there unfortunately are kids who aren't so lucky as me, and they'll have to work a little harder, which isn't fair and isn't right, but this is hard work, whether or not you have a good family or support. I'm lucky. I'm very lucky. Since Mark passed, I, in other words, got a grip. My moving forward came when I accepted that he was gone, that I was never going to know why he left, and that I loved him, but I lost him.
Surround
everything's going to be okay in the end. If it's not okay, it's not the end.